Hanson. Congratulations,
Thank
Pauline.
you.
An amazing victory. You'll see I'm wearing my teal-coloured tie here for you, especially to join in the celebration.
Thanks.
What an amazing victory. So tell us, how do you feel this morning?
Oh, you have no idea, Rowan. It's been, you know, when I think back over the years of my journey, 30 years ago, first elected to the House of Reps, and I've been on this journey. I've been criticised, pillaged, you know, you can't do anything. Oh, yeah, OK, she's won a couple of Senate seats, and it was breaking this barrier to win a lower house seat, and I think that's what it's all about. Everyone ridiculed me, oh, you'll never win a lower house seat. Well, we did yesterday with David Farley, and I thank the people of Farrer for voting for One Nation, giving us the opportunity to represent you. But Rowan, it's not just a win for One Nation or Pauline Hanson. That's not the big picture here. What I'm looking at is the win for Australia. So we now are taking it on with the major political parties who've been so arrogant for too long, disregarding, disrespecting, taking the voters out there for granted, and not only that, they've run this country into the ground. I want my country back. I want to bring back prosperity. I want to the agricultural, to the mining industry. I want to give hope for the youth coming through. I want decent education, get rid of this woke agenda. You can't say male or female. What the hell has happened to our country? That's what I want.
Rita.
And yet the attacks keep on coming, Pauline, the latest from the 9 papers. I'll just read you the headline here from a piece from Peter Harcher. Australia teeters on the brink of a populist uprising led by a long-time racist. What is your response to that?
They're in denial, actually. That's all they can do is throw the barbs and say I'm a racist. And a lot of the people around me that are actually migrants and people of all different cultural backgrounds, their colour skins and everything like that, we look past that because they're so proud to be Australians. And they say, Pauline, we support you because we don't want this country to become like the country that we left. And they're not picking up my message. They're bitter people, they really are, and with their own agenda, their aggression. I'm pushing that to one side. I'm not interested in that. I've got too many people out there who've supported me and backed me all the way, and I appreciate that. My aim, my focus is on the people out there, and I'll keep working hard for them and with my team, and that's what I've gathered around me. People say, oh, you know, they won't last long. I'm telling you now, we're going to be here for the long haul. And so David Farley is going to be a great representative on the floor of Parliament with Barnaby Joyce.
James.
Senator, congratulations again on the win. Absolutely resounding. And one of the things that really struck me, though, during this campaign was the way in which even entities on the right, you know, Liberals were attacking One Nation rather than attacking this really dire government that we have, which is about to, on Tuesday, hit us with a whole new raft of taxes. What is your reaction to the idea that you've now got the Liberals almost on the same side as, say, the ABC? I mean, here was what Patricia Karvelas had to say last night.
That begins the process of legitimising them, and in other electorates where they may run, voters thinking, well, it's happened before, it's normal now.
She sounded like she was almost a member of the moderate wing of the Liberal Party room. What was your reaction to that funny sort of uniparty development that you've got the ABC and the Liberals on the same side?
I can't believe it. You know, this is what I'm saying. It's a sheer arrogance. Like, you know, we don't have any right to be on the political scene. Well, what the hell? You know, isn't this a democracy? Don't you put your policies forward and what you want to do for the country? Isn't it up to the people? Or we are a third world country. We have no right to go out there and express what we want to do for the country. This is why they'll lose. I'm telling you, this sheer arrogance from both sides, that's why they will lose. People want down-to-earth, common-sense people who are really there to fight for them. That's what it's about. You know, it was a dirty fight in Farrer. I'm telling you now, it stunk. And from the coalition parties to actually keep throwing the dirt at us in the gutter politics that went on, I could have come back and had my say. You know, I'm sick and tired of them having a go because David Farley was supposed to be with the Labor Party. He wasn't with the Labor Party. He attended a function and trying to get them across on the water issue, and also Millthorpe he backed her because she was on the water issue. But the whole fact is, has anyone gone after Matt Canavan, who was actually with the Communist Party? You know, I could have raised that during the election, but I didn't. I'm not getting into the gutter with them. And James Patterson, what the hell was he picking on an age pensioner during that election and filming him unbeknownst to him? You know, you don't need this. People are fed up with it. I'm going to remain me. I'm going to keep doing what I do.
And it's working,
you know,
Pauline.
I don't care about the rest of them.
It's working, Pauline.
Rita,
And it worked when you had the Teal candidate, the independent Teal candidate, and the enormous amount of money and resources that went into her campaign. And in the end, your candidate's going to win by close to 60%.
You know, Rita, what we heard yesterday was they had people paid $30 an hour to stand outside and guard the signage on the fence of the Teal. Then we were told yesterday Labor paid union representatives to bus them in from Sydney to man the polling booths yesterday, and they were paid to do it. This is what we're up against. You know, they are so scared of myself and One Nation, the support that we are getting, and so they should be. I tell you what, now my work really starts for me, because I'm coming after you with your policies, how you destroyed this nation, put people in poverty, closing down small business, not looking after the farming sector. You can't drill in this country, you can't mine for gas, you can't do anything. Well, I'm bringing out my gas policy next week. And you know what I did? I consulted with all the gas companies. When I had them online, they said, my God, Pauline, we've never had this before. No one's come to us for ask for our opinion. Next one I'm going after is the agricultural industry. I want the farmers out there to tell me what they want, what changes need to happen, and I'm going to pull this country together.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, Pauline, because we need to get rid of the red tape, the green tape. We've now got all this black tape, this kind of the blue banded bee who gets in the way of a gold mine, all this sort of nonsense. I notice your wonderful new, you've got your wheels behind you there, ready to fly off around the country. Fantastic.
Right.
Lots of mining communities.
And I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely, a beautiful plane.
I'm very proud of it.
And that was a great... Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it, Rowan, and I'm sick of the criticism being directed at Mrs Reinhardt. You know, she's a very proud, patriotic Australian. They don't realise what she's done. She's just given $200 million to the veterans. She keeps the Royal Flying Doctors afloat. She looks after the Olympians and supports them. It just goes on and on and on. There's bitter people again. Tall poppy syndrome. We'll get over it, people, because I respect, I don't ask for anything, but gee, when I got that backing from other people, I really appreciate it. So thank you very much, Mrs Reinhardt. I'm proud to jump in that plane now, and I'm going home. But a lot of people around rural and regional areas will see me in that plane. So once you see it landing, please come out and say hello.
Well, absolutely. And I think the key thing is rural Australia, regional Australia has been so deserted and left floundering, and that's where our economy, so much of our economy relies on mining, agriculture, farming and so on. This was a massive victory for rural and regional Australia. What are your priorities, Pauline? You know, because you've got that plane, there's a lot of people who are looking forward to seeing you, speaking to you and finding out how One Nation can get us back on track. How can you help get us back on track?
Right. I've already had meetings, the last sitting in Parliament, with the doctors and organisations that actually want to get out to rural and regional areas. So they've put a plan to me to get another 600 weeks of doctors visiting these areas. If you can't get decent health care in these areas, they've shut down hospitals. Also, what I think needs to happen is take the funding out of the hands of the state governments and set up individual hospital boards in each hospital. Let them utilise their own funding where they want to spend it. Don't get it out of the hands of bureaucrats. Too many bureaucrats in this country. $2.5 million over all levels, costing $250 billion a year. Get rid of the bureaucrats. They're not worth it. Get common sense people there and people who are prepared to make a decision.
Absolutely. James.
Senator, on Tuesday night, Treasurer Jim Chalmers is going to drop a budget which is going to be a direct assault on aspirational Australians. I'd love to hear what One Nation is thinking about in these sorts of terms, particularly around responding to this budget with policies or announcements. And is One Nation going to become the new natural home for aspiration in this country, given that the Liberals have walked away a bit from some of that economic reform?
Look, I think so, James. What you do is you don't cut the legs out from underneath people who want to move ahead and own their own home. Most of the people who want to own their own home as a second, third home, investment home, which allows for rental accommodation with low. A lot of people don't want to own their own home. They're quite happy to rent. So these are people who are doctors, nurses, people of that calibre, and they've tried to provide for when they get older and retire. They have a plan there for themselves. Now, the negative gearing, which I think would probably 2 houses, 3 houses at max, so you don't have these big developers and controlling the whole lot. And I do believe in young Australians, but where we've got to hit it is foreign investors. We've got hundreds of thousands of people in Australia who own homes. They're not Australian citizens. Cut that right back, cut back your mass migration into the country. And then when you build a new home in Australia, 40 to 44% of that is taxes. So the government has taxed people to the hilt in Australia. Now they want to tax them again, take the capital gains tax out off them as well. Cut your taxes, cut back your government spending, and I want to put more money into the pockets of Australians, and we can do that reasonably, as our last budget was cutting $90 billion, and that was giving income splitting. So if you're one income family, you can split your income if you've got one dependent child at home. So the mother or the father can stay at home with the child, and you can split your income, and that would save, if you're on $120,000 a year, split the income would be saving of $10,000 a year to that household. Also, I want to see pensioners given the right to work unlimited hours without affecting their pension, and the veterans, and so they can actually then make that extra money. You know, we've thrown too many people on the scrap heap, and people don't want to lose their pensions or the healthcare card. You wouldn't lose that under my policy. Get these people with the knowledge, experience, and get them back in the workforce, socialise, and let them earn that bit of extra money. And of course the NDIS. I'd slash and burn a lot of that.
Yes,
take it back to basics, what it was there for. So there's a lot of things. We can save that money.
And just very quickly before you fly off, Pauline, just tell, is this, as some are saying, peak One Nation, the high water mark, or is it the beginning of a One Nation tsunami? How many lower house MPs do you reckon you could get at the next election?
Well, it's not up to me to put a number on that, James. It's up to the people of Australia. Do I offer you what you're looking for? Can I deliver? Yes, I can. And if I don't know anything, I will get the right people around me that will do it. But I'm a very strong-willed, determined person. I'm not that arrogant that I do know my limitations, and if I don't know it, I will get the right people around me, James. We've got a lot of work to do, but don't underestimate me.
Pauline, no one ever underestimates you, and they're crazy if they do. Congratulations again. Fantastic work there. And Australia, the political landscape is now very, very different. Thanks so much for coming on Outsiders, Pauline, and we'll speak again soon.
Pauline Hanson's latest interview comes at a fascinating moment in Australian politics. After One Nation's breakthrough victory in the Farrer by-election, Hanson is clearly presenting the result as more than just a win for her party. Her message is that many Australians are frustrated with the major parties and are looking for an alternative voice. Throughout the interview, Hanson repeatedly argued that both Labor and the Coalition have lost touch with everyday Australians. She claimed voters are tired of what she described as political arrogance, bureaucracy, and policies that fail to address rising living costs, housing affordability, and regional development. Whether you agree with her or not, it's clear these themes continue to resonate with a significant portion of the electorate. One of Hanson's main arguments was that Australia's economic challenges are being driven by government spending, high migration levels, housing shortages, and increasing regulation. She criticised both major parties for what she sees as a lack of long-term planning and vision, particularly when it comes to infrastructure, agriculture, mining, and energy security. Housing was another major focus. Hanson argued that young Australians are finding it increasingly difficult to enter the property market compared to previous generations. She suggested that reducing migration, limiting foreign ownership of residential property, and lowering taxes associated with home construction could help improve affordability. Supporters of these ideas argue they would ease pressure on housing demand, while critics contend that housing affordability is a far more complex issue involving supply constraints, planning regulations, and broader economic factors. The interview also highlighted Hanson's push for policies aimed at supporting families and retirees. She discussed income-splitting arrangements for households with dependent children and allowing pensioners to work additional hours without losing pension benefits. According to Hanson, these measures would put more money into the pockets of ordinary Australians while encouraging workforce participation. Another key theme was regional Australia. Hanson spoke extensively about the importance of farming, mining, manufacturing, and rural communities. She argued that regional areas have been neglected by governments for too long and called for greater investment in healthcare services, infrastructure projects, and economic development outside major metropolitan centres. Politically, Hanson sees the recent by-election result as evidence that One Nation is becoming a more significant force in Australian politics. She believes voters who may have previously viewed a vote for One Nation as symbolic are now seeing the party as a genuine contender capable of winning seats and influencing national debate. At the same time, the interview reflected the increasingly competitive nature of Australian politics. As public concerns around cost of living, housing affordability, energy prices, and government debt continue to dominate discussions, parties across the political spectrum are competing to convince voters they have the solutions. Ultimately, Hanson's message was straightforward. She believes Australia needs policy changes that prioritise economic growth, lower living costs, stronger regional communities, and greater accountability from government. Whether Australians agree with her proposals or not, the growing support reflected in recent polling suggests that dissatisfaction with the political status quo remains a powerful force shaping the national conversation.